Hello everyone, I welcome you all in my channel once again. I am Sudipto Pandey, lecturer of Pakur Polytechnic Pakur, and today I am going to teach you about the types of communication according to the SBTE and JUT syllabus. So let's move to the PPT. So as we have already discussed about the definitions of the communication, that communication is a kind of tool through which we share our feelings, our ideas, or whatever the thoughts we are having to one or more person. We have also discussed in the previous video lecture that it is it is considered as the lifeblood of any organization or any kind of business, because without communication we will not be able to achieve our goal or whatever the objectives we are having. So communication is also regarded as the nervous system of any organization. Communication in any organization may take any form or direction. Here, direction means I mean to say that about the flow of the messages, in which direction it is flowing depending upon the structure of the organization or the manner of transmission of the message which is being communicated. So in this video lecture, we will see only the types of communication, and in the next video lecture, I will make about the detailed definitions and what are the advantages and disadvantages of its types. So basically, types of communication, there are two types of communication. That is, the first one is, it is divided on the basis of organizational structure, and the second one is on the basis of method of expression. So we will talk now about the organizational structure, which is very important from the exam point of view. So there are basically two types of communication which is divided on the basis of organizational structure, that is formal communication and informal communication. So formal communication means the communication which we use formally, means to say that which the communication which we use in our office or in our uh, organizations or in business, that is known as formal communication. And formal communication is language bound, it is also a time bound, and we are not allowed to use any kind of slang in formal communication. So we will have detailed uh, I will give you the detailed information about formal communication and informal and whatever the types are present here in the next video lecture. And informal communication is a kind of communication which we do with our blood relations. We can say that with our friends or with our family members. Informal communication, there are three types of communication which is divided according to the direction of the flow. That is, the first one is the vertical communication, where messages are flowed from higher authorities to lower authority, or from lower authority to the higher authorities of the organization or any schools or colleges. In horizontal communication, the communication is being done with the same level of employees, between the same level of employees. And in diagonal communication, the higher authorities communicate with the lower authorities without following the path, without following the path of the communication. or it may be the case that in diagonal communication, the lower authorities can communicate with the higher authorities, once again without following the paths. That's why it is known as diagonal communication, in which paths are not followed. Now, if we talk about vertical communication, so there are two types of vertical communication. The first one is upward communication. In upward communication, the lower authorities communicate with the higher authorities by following the paths. For example, if we see the example of any schools or colleges, so whatever the problem the student is having, they inform to their teachers. Then the teacher inform the problem to the principal. Then principal discuss the problem with the director or the board of the directors, whoever is present. So here the lower authority is communicating with the higher authority by following the paths. So this is upward communication. The message is the message is flowing from the lower authority to the upper authority. That's why this is known as upward communication. But in downward communication, if we talk about the downward communication, then uh, the messages are being flowed from higher authorities to the lower authorities by following the paths. Suppose in the case of schools or colleges, if anything is decided, or if any kind of cultural event is going to be held in the college or school premises, so the director of the school or college will first decide whatever the cultural program will be and how it will be organized. Then he will inform to the principal. The principal once again uh, will communicate the message to the teachers. Then the teachers will communicate the message to the student. So here in this case, the message is flowing from the upper authority to the lower authority by following the chain. So this is known as downward communication. So if we talk about the type of communication which is divided on the basis of method of expression, so there are two types of communication, that is verbal communication and non-verbal communication. So as the name suggests, verbal communication means in which we use our words or alphabets to communicate with someone. So it is known as verbal communication. In verbal communication, there are two types. The first one is written communication. So whatever we communicate, our thoughts or ideas, we communicate. If we communicate by writing, then it is known as written communication. And if we are communicating with the help of our speech or orally, if we are communicating, then that is known as oral communication. In non-verbal communication, as the name suggests, it is non-verbal, means we will not use any kind of words or alphabets. So in this type of communication, it is divided into two types, that is body language and graph language. So body language means to say that whatever the gestures or posture which we are making to communicate our views or whatever the ideas we are having, that is known as body language. And if we talk about the graph language means to say that whatever the ideas we are communicating with the help of any picture or graph, which we do in some kind of presentation also without saying. So that kind of uh, communication is known as graph language or graph communication. So that's all in this video lecture. So in the, I will make one another lecture video in which there will be detailed information will be provided to you about all the types of communication, what are its advantages or disadvantages from the exam point of view. So thank you.